So as the title says, I got COVID, and I'm going to talk about my experience with it in this video. Basically just to bring awareness. I'm not going to bring the media or any politics into this. It's just going to be my experience alone. I want to make this one take, just keep it casual, so I apologize if it's going to be a little bit long. But I want to talk about kind of how it started off, what I felt like, and what my symptoms were. Just in case anyone else is worried about getting it, maybe they can kind of listen to what I have to say about it. Maybe it'll make them feel better about it. I don't know. So basically, it started off. I started feeling. I wouldn't really say that I felt sick. I felt fatigued at first, and then it kind of developed more into a headache and more fatigue, and it was getting to the point where then I was like, okay, well now something's definitely going on. I don't think I'm well. For a little bit, for a couple days, it was mostly just a really extreme fatigue. I couldn't do anything. I didn't really feel like doing anything. It felt like I had the flu, but without the fever, because I took my temperature and I didn't see any fever. Now, for me personally, my normal body temperature is 97.5, right around there. When I was younger, it used to be 98.6. I don't know what happened. My life changed a little bit and my body temperature went lower. But yeah, every time I assessed over the past couple of years, it's been 97.5. The highest temperature I actually recorded with the thermometer, the under the tongue thermometer, not an infrared one, it was 98.9. It might have been maybe a little bit higher than that at some point, but that's what it was when I tested it. So it was higher than my normal body temperature, but it was never extreme. You know, I've had illnesses that were 101, 102 fevers before in the past, which was way worse than that. But I had all the symptoms of a fever. I had body aches, some chills, fatigue, sense of taste changed. I mean, all the stuff you would normally associate with having the flu or anything with a fever, but I never really had a high fever per se. I even woke up in the middle of the night one time with, I was just drenched in sweat, like I was breaking a fever that I did not have. Just really cold sweat, and you know, I've had that in the past before too, with any other illness. It's pretty much all the same symptoms you would get with a cold or a flu are pretty much identical to with COVID. So I had congestion, upper congestion, not lower congestion, so my sinuses and everything. And my sense of taste, as I said before, changed. I did lose my sense of smell, and it was a little bit different than a normal illness that I've had in the past. I lost my sense of smell. It didn't happen right away. It took about 5 days or so before I noticed it. And then I couldn't smell really anything. I tried smelling coffee grounds, peanut butter, anything I could find around the house basically, and I just really couldn't smell it. Maybe a hint of it, but other than that, it was probably like 97% loss of smell, if you want to put it in percentages. And a couple days ago, I started getting it back. I wasn't really sick a couple days ago. I was feeling pretty much fine, but that's when my sense of smell started to come back. So if anyone loses a sense of smell, it's not like it's permanent. If you think it's permanent, it's not. So what it was, though, was really weird, because when I was breathing in through my nose, I could still breathe in. I wasn't so congested to where it was clogged. It was a weird sensation in my nose. It didn't feel comfortable to breathe through my nose because of a sensation I got. It's almost like my nerve endings were firing in my nose, trying to sense the smell, but there's no sense of smell whatsoever. That's my take on it anyways. So yeah, so it was pretty much all the normal symptoms of any other illness, and I did test positive. I'm not just assuming I had it. I did test positive for it, because it got to the point to where I felt like I needed to, because you know, I work with the public, and it's not a good idea if you're feeling sick to continue to try to go to work. You know, unless you're sure that you don't have it, especially, you know, in 2020 with everything else that's going on. So yeah, I would say that's mostly my experience with it. It really wasn't that bad, although right now I still have a tickle in my throat. That was the other thing I forgot to mention, was actually I woke up in the middle of the night one night with a dry cough. It was only for one night, and I could probably count on both hands maybe how many times I actually coughed, but it was dry, and I knew if I kept coughing like that, it would have probably gotten worse, so I immediately took some cough medication. It was Delcium. It's an orange box. That's the only stuff that's ever worked for me in the past if I've ever had a bad cough. I've had coughs that were way worse with other illnesses I've had in the past, just common illnesses, that stuff actually works. It's called Delcium. This is not sponsored, by the way. I'm just helping people out. So anyways, I had a dry cough for a little bit. I took that, and I tried to not cough. Even though I had a sensation that I needed to cough, there was nothing to cough up. So I thought it was better for me to try to not cough at all, and because you could just progress and snowball. So I just held it back, and the next morning I was pretty much fine. I had no sensation to cough anymore for that. Although over the past couple days I've had a sensation to cough again for some reason. Not really so much, I don't really want to call it a dry cough to where it's like it hurts. It's more like just a regular tickle in your throat kind of a cough, and it doesn't last long. It's a couple here and there, and that's really about it. And I also had a little bit of sensation of, I would call it acid reflux, although I'm not sure that's actually what it is, because I'm a pretty healthy person. I work out 3 times a week. I eat healthy. I don't have acid reflux problems. I've never had that problem. Many years ago, I did have that issue because I had an issue where I was vomiting. I was really sick. I was vomiting a lot, and I had acid reflux for about a month after that illness. But I didn't have any issues with vomiting during this illness, and I had this sensation of acid reflux. I want to call it that, and I'm not sure if that's actually what it is. So I do have that. I never really felt like I had any issues breathing. I was breathing mostly just fine. The only thing I can say about that is, even though it's not like it was difficult for me to breathe, I still had to think about breathing, if that makes any sense. It was more like I had to inhale deeper, I guess. I'm not really sure if that's actually a real symptom. It could be mental, who knows. I'm not mental, but that's just what I'm saying about it. So, yeah, as far as where I probably got it from, I'm not going to comment on that because I don't want to raise any red flags or anything like that. But what I can say is I haven't been going out. I even cut my own hair. I don't go out to get my hair cut, don't go out to eat. Pretty much just homebody for the most part. So, I mean, my job, like I said before, is dealing with the public. It's possible I could have got it from anywhere at that point through work. But, you know, we protect ourselves as much as we can with what our jobs are. So the only story I could probably tell to make people feel better about getting COVID, because it is going around, a lot of people are getting it. There's a person across the street from me, a couple doors down, a lady. She's 92 years old, and she has emphysema and COPD. She got COVID from one of her healthcare workers, and she recovered from it just fine. So it affects everyone differently. It seems to affect more people with underlying health conditions, but even people with underlying health conditions and elderly still can recover from it. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but you know, that's one example. One thing before I lead out this video here, or to lead out this video, is to mention somebody I was around got COVID also. Now, this is before I knew I had COVID, but I was at that point, I guess I was mostly recovered from it, but they were around me still. And all it was, we were more than 6 feet apart, outside. We were only that close for about 15 seconds. It was a short meet, and about 4 or 5 days later, that person got sick, and his whole family is sick too. They all got it, but they're doing okay. So we were both wearing masks also. So if indeed he got it from me, I would say that with those safety measures in place, the short time, the masks, the distancing outside, if it's that easy to transfer between people, then I think everyone in the world can expect to get it at some point. I don't think this is going to go away. That's just science. That's just statistics and the probability of everything. A vaccine, you know, read up on health stuff and you'll have your own opinion about that. But cold viruses, you know, that's pretty much what COVID is. It's not something that I believe is ever going to go away. Maybe sometime in the future there might be vaccines for antiviral stuff or stuff like that that might be effective, but in the near future, I don't think so. So for me, being almost 40 years old, it really wasn't that bad. I've been way more sick in the past with other illnesses. There is a video coming up, 2 videos actually, that are going to have something to do with Petri dishes, and it actually had nothing to do with COVID. I started doing this stuff, and I had plans on doing this stuff a long time before this happened, and basically how much germs are still on your hands after you wash them, how much germs are still on your hands after you use hand sanitizer, surface cleaners, stuff like that, and I think you'll be surprised. So stick around for those videos, and we'll see you next time.